Well everyone, we're at the end. This is the Nintendo Switch, and its past 8 years have been phenomenal. Today we're saying goodbye to this console generation and everything we loved about it. So I want to take a little walk down memory lane and reminisce on some of the truly great games we've experienced along the way. I guess this is sort of a top 10 video, with probably more than 10 games honestly. We'll see how we go. Before we start though, why don't you comment some of your favourite Switch experiences below? And let's begin. Just some disclaimers, there will probably be some big titles in here that don't make this list. This is my favourite Switch games of the generation, and not some generic listing of the top rated games. If you're wanting something like Xenoblade Chronicles to feature here, then you're going to be disappointed, because I'm sure they're great games that I don't really care for. If you're mad, go make your own list, I don't know. Secondly, this isn't really a ranking list. The top game at the end is going to be my top game of this generation, but I haven't really put the rest of them in order or anything like that. All the games on here are games that I love, and games that have given me fun. That's all there is to it. Anyway, let's start with some special shout-out games that I don't really want to waffle on about too much, but they're still fun experiences regardless. Astral Chain is by far the Switch's hidden gem, and I'm glad I gave it a go. It's a truly great experience, and like classic Platinum Games fashion, I really didn't fully grasp how deep and technical the combat can get until the very end of the game. If you've played a Platinum game before, you would know. These games are hard, but insanely fun when it all clicks. If I were to pick a favourite indie title, then nothing will beat Celeste. A heartwarming story of overcoming the obstacles in front of you and fighting your inner demons, coupled with the pixel-perfect platforming and stellar soundtrack by Lena Raine, makes this a game that should be in everyone's library. Also, if you hate having fun, then I would steer clear of Snipperclips. Some of the funniest Switch moments I've had have been with this game.
Mommy!
I don't know.
Hey, what are you doing? Why do you keep leaving?
Breath of the Wild may be the standout launch title, but if you didn't play Snipperclips during launch week and beyond, then what is wrong with you? Great, now that that's out the way, let's start the real list. 12. Oh, we're doing 12? 12. Alright, 12! Super Mario Party Jamboree is the most recent release on this list, but I think it's the near-perfect Mario Party experience for this system. Whether it's the best Mario Party game in existence, I think that's a subjective argument which you can duke out in the comments. But for the Switch, I would say that this one by far has the most going for it. Regular Mario Party features some excellent maps with their own gimmicks, as well as old favourites returning. The item selection can provide some absolutely dastardly ways to screw over your friends, and the mini-games on offer also have a pretty great balance of old and new. Domination?
That is domination.
Oh my gosh! I'm cramping! Jamie, how you going? I personally love that it's taken Super Mario Party's motion control focus and Superstars returning to its original roots and melded it into one fantastic outing that will 100% cause rage and hilarity for your next games night with your friends and victims. Rhythm Kitchen is one of my favourite modes. Anything that resembles a WarioWare style rhythm game is a good time when you've got friends over. I haven't played too much of the Big Bowser mode, and the Marathon mode can get repetitive quickly as the mini-games on offer are very short and there's few of them. However, when it comes to the meat of the game, regular Mario Party with friends on the couch or over the internet, this is what you need to be playing. No!
No! No! No!
You ruined it! This game features Luigi, which is a great addition to anyone's character selection screen. You can take the kid out of the squid, but you can't take the squid out of the kid.
That rhymed. Unintentional.
I'm not the greatest fan of competitive shooters. I'm getting old and my reflexes aren't what they used to be compared to the whippersnappers of today brought up on iPads, Fortnite and brain rot.
I'm not seeing enough movement!
But give me Splatoon 3 and I will grab my end zap and go to town at any task given to me. Turf War, bring it on. Hero mode, hilarious. Ranked battles, stay salty. Splatfests, I'm there. Salmon Run, absolutely. Big Run, absolutely. Side Order, insane. Splatoon 3 dips its hand into so many different modes and styles of play, and all of them are good. Lore in Splatoon is massive and feeds into everything from the story mode, to the idols, to their backstories, to the fashion, to even the soundtrack being made by fictional crustacean groups in the game's world. Everything about this game and Splatoon as a series is just so expertly thought through, and it's almost impossible to pick up this game and not appreciate how well done it is. Final Fest was a beautiful, bittersweet moment because an online game like this can really only last as long as the developers support it with new content. The 2 years of free updates as well as paid DLC felt so short. I wish that time was longer because Splatoon is really something special. If you were part of those 2 years, you would know what I mean. Splatoon has always been one of the founding pillars of this channel, and I'm so glad it's given me so much over the years. I've played competitively, made long-lasting friendships, and ultimately just had lots of fun. The world is a better place with a game series like Splatoon. Unfortunately, this game does not feature Luigi though. Super Mario Bros. Wonder was my game of the year for 2023. After a decade of new Super Mario Bros. Dominating the 2D landscape, Wonder was the breath of fresh air that was desperately needed. All characters are finally full of expression and whimsy instead of tried and tired renders. Music style finally changed from to level design was spectacular across the board, and Wonder Flowers add some of the most wacky, gimmicky changes that can make the saddest person smile. Multiplayer is a joy in Wonder. I feel like it was specifically designed with this in mind. It's fine in single player, but I much preferred experiencing the Petal Isles with JP.
What's happening?
They're bringing us musical whimsy.
Oh no. Yes, there is whimsy.
Look at
Wonder has so many wonderful, silly secrets, it would be a shame to keep it all to yourself. I love the online aspect of the game. Not too intrusive to demand players to join in a lobby together. You can if you want to though, but just nice enough to have random online players join you in levels if you're playing at the same time and offer hints and standee checkpoints if it's needed. Sure, it's a relatively easy game until the very last stages, but I think a lot of us adult gamers nowadays forget that easy doesn't equal bad. It's okay if levels aren't always challenging you and pushing you to your limit. Sometimes all you need in life is just a little bit of wonderful to make things that little bit brighter, or louder, or faster, or gravity defying, or springy, or stampede-y, or slimy. This game features Luigi. The art of Dandori consumed my entire winter of 2023. I learnt that if I put my breakfast cereal in the microwave whilst my coffee machine is grinding the beans at the same time, then I can save myself a good 40 seconds of prep time so food and coffee will be in my mouth faster. That is Dandori, and that is Pikmin 4. Ochi is an icon and I refuse to explore the world without him. His upgradability throughout the game with new movesets is what Wolf Link in Twilight Princess should have been. That's right, of course I'm going to take a swipe at it, what were you expecting? Cave exploration is phenomenal and gives you a break from the time constraints of the overworld. The overworld itself is beautiful, perhaps one of the best looking environments on Switch. I would have loved to see night exploration be a little bit more fleshed out instead of it being a shorter, more frantic tower defense style mode, but it's still enjoyable. Dandori battles challenge some of the world's best thinkers if you want to go for the top prizes. You can challenge yourself if you want to, or you can be happy with being an utter Dandori failure. The choice is up to you. Useless Dandori. This guy does not feature Luigi. Pikmin 4 really only has one other competitor for best looking Switch game, and that competitor is none other than Luigi's Mansion 3. I remember playing it back before release at PAX 2019 and was in awe of just how good it looked. I love how Nintendo decided to lean into the silliness of Luigi's Mansion 2's level design, but take it to the next level. Every floor has its own ridiculous theme that sees Luigi bumble through scenarios like battling mummies in an ancient tomb, having disco dance floor battles, fighting T-Rex fossils in a museum, or even helping out a ghost movie director on his own makeshift set of Godzilla.
It's Godzilla! It looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws, it's not.
Luigi allows players to play through the game with a friend, which I thought is an excellent evolution of the Luigi's Mansion series. Gameplay is fun, puzzles aren't super difficult but do require you to think your way through them, and is just a good, silly, whimsical adventure. And it features Luigi. Super Smash Bros. Isn't just a fighting game, it's a phenomenon that shakes the gaming world. Since Smash for Wii U, we started seeing a shift of new fighters coming in from all over the gaming landscape, and not just limited to Nintendo characters. So for Smash Bros. Ultimate, it felt like anything was possible when its initial reveal trailer exploded onto the scene with its follow-up Nintendo Direct sending the hype train into overload with its insane mantra of "everyone is here." Post-launch was even crazier with the Fighters Pass, meaning that even more new characters were being announced. Nintendo literally hijacked the Game Awards to announce Joker from Persona, and every Nintendo Direct afterwards felt like a new announcement drop could be imminent at any given moment. I distinctly remember being absolutely let down with the announcement of Hero from Dragon Quest in a 2019 Nintendo Direct, only to have the lid blown off when not even 20 minutes later they came around again and dropped Banjo-Kazooie for Smash, just for fun. There is nothing in the world like Super Smash Bros., and there will never be another game to rival it. The game is fine, and World of Light was pretty enjoyable, but nothing will be able to top the sheer amount of hype and insanity that Masahiro Sakurai brings to the table with characters and announcements. It also has Luigi. Metroid Dread, man. What a game. This was my very first Metroid game, and it did not disappoint in the slightest. Don't let it fool you though. Some may see it as a simple dungeon crawler not worth anything more than $20, but I urge you that this is worth every bit of your time and then some. Level design is flawless, making sure that players will be completely confused only to return back to the same place with new items to find a new path which suddenly makes you feel like an absolute genius. Boss fights are incredibly hard, but there's always a unique pattern of behavior that when you spot it, you feel like more of a genius. The parry system just feels so good. The Emmy sections are some of the most brutal, stressful areas in history. Getting caught means certain death, but on the 1% chance that you parry the killer blow and hightail it out of there to escape, there is nothing that can beat that feeling. This game took years of life away from me due to the stress of it all, and I cannot recommend it enough. 10 out of 10 game. Does not feature Luigi though. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is one of the best examples of IPs transitioning from 2D to 3D in such a seamless way that still retains everything we know and love about the series. I haven't played through many Kirby games in my life, but I have dabbled in them here and there as a kid with my little Game Boy Color. Forgotten Land is a fun, colourful adventure featuring the likes of Kerbo, King Dedede, Bandana Waddle Dido, Urflurf, and it contrasts the whimsy of cuteness with the stress of taking down a literal god as the final boss. I had the pleasure of enjoying 90% of the entire game in co-op mode with my wife, someone who really doesn't care too much for platforming games. For a casual gamer, she enjoyed the difficulty level, except for the very end, and loved Kirby's various abilities and the silly animations throughout.
Classic.
I loved Mouthful mode and thought it was a great evolution of the Kirby series to keep gameplay fun and engaging.
Maybe the true Mouthful mode is the friends we made along the way.
We didn't care too much for the post-game content. Finding the Spirit Orbs felt a little bit like we were retreading already covered areas on a fetch quest, which we only completed a few months ago in preparation for the Switch 2 DLC. And the secret final boss was the most brutal gameplay I have experienced in years.
Don't get greedy. That's what I'm talking about!
However, as a whole, I was pleasantly surprised with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. If only it featured Luigi. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Nintendo's GTA 5 and Skyrim, a game that just refuses to die. I have been playing Mario Kart 8 since launch day on Wii U over 11 years ago, which means a third of my 33-year-old life so far has been accompanied with Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe.
Wow.
This has been one of my top 3 games ever. I remember back in late 2021 to 2022 when everyone was rumouring a new Mario Kart game. Something stupidly named like Mario Kart Crossroads or some other lame name like that. What we got though was the Booster Course Pass, an additional 48 courses of retro tracks and tour tracks with a couple new ones sprinkled in, as well as an expansion of characters as well. Initial reception was slightly disappointed as the quality of the visuals and a few quirks of course mechanics felt like some corners were cut. However, I feel that the more the courses dropped, the better they got. What we are left with is a mammoth 96 tracks, 50 characters and arguably the best Mario Kart game ever. I've seen it all in this game. The change of wheel meta from 8 slick tyres to Deluxe's stupid roller wheels. I've seen the years of sweaty Waluigi and Wiggler combos, but I wouldn't give this game up for the world. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a truly special game with a lot to offer over its lifetime. It also has Luigi! The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of those titles that will come along and change the trajectory of gaming forever. Breath of the Wild flips the exploration system on its head and gives the power back to the player. Everything is up to you. You decide how to tackle obstacles. You decide how to get to points on the map. Everything is accessible and interconnected in a lifelike sandbox world that rewards the player for its curiosity. To say Breath of the Wild changed my life personally would be an understatement. This channel wouldn't be where it is today if it weren't for the sheer engagement that this game brings. Whether it be challenges, master mode playthroughs, or completing absolutely everything possible in this game, Breath of the Wild's reach has been unfathomable. I remember Nintendo Switch launch day like it was yesterday. After filming an unboxing video, Snipper Clips content, and a Breath of the Wild video, I remember later on hanging out with my brother and his friend late at night in a park, where we all completed the Great Plateau together. 5 years of waiting for a new Zelda game, and there we were, in the stillness of the night, having no idea what we were doing. Unfortunately though, no Luigi in this game, unless you mod it. Tears of the Kingdom is one of the greatest games you'll ever play when you don't have Zelda lore content creators shoving the narrative down your throat that it isn't because it didn't feed their content the way they thought it would. I said what I said. No game is perfect and Tears of the Kingdom has its flaws. People think it's bloated, people complain there's no DLC despite complaining that it's bloated, people don't like the story, Zelda should have stayed a dragon, people don't like the depths, people don't like the Sky Islands, Master Swords shouldn't break. Some criticism can be justified, but others need to be put in place and it's time we address it. When the gameplay of Breath of the Wild is already so good, then you refine its systems to be so well made and so full of life and excitement that almost every aspect of gameplay is expertly crafted to squeeze every bit of juice out of the Switch. You're left with something special. My first Tears of the Kingdom playthrough was full of so much awe, so much excitement, so much hype. I felt like a genius when I cheesed my way through a shrine, yet that's what the game wants you to do. It encourages you not to just decide on how to do something like Breath of the Wild, but then to also push the boundaries of what you think is possible and exceed your own expectations in its puzzle solving so that you're left with the feeling of, I can do whatever I want and nothing can stop me. Up we go. Just rewinding back. Off you go, see ya! Bye now! Enjoy your trip! I remember falling into the depths for the first time and realizing that there's an entire world underneath Hyrule that was hidden from us for its entire development. I don't think I've ever been as petrified seeing Ganondorf's health bar rocket off the screen in my first encounter with the final boss. Okay, how far's it going? Where's that going? Ah! Ah! I don't think I've ever felt so exhilarated watching the first cutscene unfold for the first time, where Link fails to save Zelda, and I think the game's redemption arc of going full circle and catching Zelda after everything that has transpired is some of Nintendo's strongest forms of storytelling, despite the storytelling itself of finding Zelda's memories being regarded as rather weak. I like to think of Tears of the Kingdom as Nintendo's Zelda's version of Mario Galaxy 2. It's a rare sequel that you don't often see with Nintendo games. It only exists because there were so many leftover ideas for their respective worlds that it would be a disservice not to show them to the public. It builds upon its predecessor to the point where it takes everything good about the original and cranks it to 1,000. It takes its time in the spotlight to show you just how much is possible in the universe it was made in, but ultimately it points back to why the original was so special. At the end of the day, it's a sequel. Sequels serve the purpose of building upon an already established world and universe to treat its fans to something extra. It's evolutionary, not revolutionary. But that's okay because that's what it was designed to be. You're only fooling yourself if you believed otherwise, and if that's your complaints about Tears of the Kingdom, then I'm sorry, you've missed the entire point. That's why I think it's such a disservice to stoop to the comparison of, do you think Breath of the Wild is better than Tears of the Kingdom? Because it's never been about which games are better. Just like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, these games work together to each serve different purposes to their audiences, despite being so similar. I look forward to the coming years where Tears of the Kingdom will have its own redemption arc in the eyes of the Zelda community. This last year hasn't been particularly kind to Tears of the Kingdom, but I will always hold this game in especially high regard. It's one of Nintendo's greatest achievements ever. Still no Luigi though. Now we're at the end. Number 1. If I had to pick my game of the generation for the Nintendo Switch, there would be none other than Super Mario Odyssey. I've said it before, I'm a Mario man at heart. I have played every game, beaten every Bowser, and gotten every star in every Mario game. Mario Odyssey is the culmination of what makes video games so great, and time again it proves itself to be the game that I recommend to people wanting to play a Nintendo game for the first time. You've never played a 3D adventure game before? Mario Odyssey. You want to introduce your kid to gaming but don't know where to start? Mario Odyssey. You want to learn how to speedrun? Mario Odyssey. You're going through a divorce? Mario Odyssey. I will never forget my first day playing Mario Odyssey, landing in the Cascade Kingdom and feeling the thrill of adventure with the sweeping orchestra gently coaxing you forward saying, you're about to have the best time of your life, as you throw your hat on a T-Rex and wreak havoc on the island. It takes every strength of Mario games and says, sit down, you've seen nothing, and throws you for a loop by letting you capture a cactus to find a hidden moon underneath. Mario Odyssey may just be the best feeling game in history when you're speeding through the land like a maniac. Puzzles are fun, movement is fun, the story is fun, the outfits are fun, the music is fun. Everything is designed for one thing and one thing only, for the player to have fun. And that's what video games should be about. Fun. It shouldn't be about the sales numbers, not about the online discourse and revisionism, not about whether it's better than its previous entry. It's about you connecting with something that someone else has made and walking away from that experience feeling better than when you started. Fun. That's what this list is all about. Over the past 8 years, every single one of these games has given me a sense of joy that I've been able to share with you guys in some capacity. And I hope you've enjoyed all my antics with it all. Let me know what your favourite Switch games were in the comments. I'd love to hear all your thoughts, even if they are Xenoblade Chronicles. This has been a fun 8 years. Well done, Nintendo Switch. You did really good. Mario Odyssey also has Luigi.